Hello guys, welcome back. In today's session, we'll be starting algebra. We'll start with the pre-algebra, and then we will shift gears to algebra, higher up algebra. Um, so the topic for to start up is the language of algebra. Before we jump into this topic, we already know algebra. What algebra is actually, we use it in a daily life, like tipping a cashier in restaurant, getting change back. These are all things that algebra is considered. Calculation of tips, uh, getting change back from a cashier in a gas station or a convenience store. These are all sort of example of algebra. The language of algebra will contain various topic, and we will try to make it easier and simpler. So by the end of this, by the time this topic ends, we should be able to identify these things: how to use variables in algebraic symbols. We will also know how to identify expressions in equations. We will also know how to simplify expression and exponents. And finally, we will simplify expressions using the order of operations. So these four topics we will cover one by one in each video. So stick around guys, and let's keep move on. Use variable and algebraic symbols. This will be discovered, or this will be given a topic number 1. And before we discover this topic and we know more about this variables in algebraic symbols, let's put some examples before that. Let's say myself and Derek Brown has the same birthdays, but they were different in years. For example, if I say like, okay, Abdul is 30-year-old, it's just an example, and Derek Brown is 55 years old. Let's not make him upset, just make him slightly younger, 45 years old. So there is a difference between him and I is 15 years, the difference. That's difference is 15 years. That 15 year is constant because I am 30 in 2024 and he is 45. And 2025 I will be 31 and Derek Brown will be 46. In 2026 I will be 32 and he will be 47. So the difference is still the 15-year-old. One thing is constant. The constant is our age difference. Age difference is constant. The age changing, our age changes. The changes is variables. We've been changing. Our age has been changed due to time, and that's what we call that as consider them as a variables. So 15 here, which is the difference between, which is the difference between Mr. Derek Brown and Abdul age, and we treat them as a constant because it doesn't change. When I was 15-year-old, he was 30. When I was 5-year-old, he was 20. So the difference, that 15 doesn't change. The difference is still the same. But what changes is the age of mine and Derek Brown's. When I was 1 year old, let's put Abdul here, and Derek Brown. When I was 1, he was 16-year-old. When I was 5, he was 20-year-old. When I was 35, now I cannot be 35 right now, but it's we can go to future. Let's say when I was 25, he was 40-year-old. So this will tell us the difference between this is 15, which is constant because we've been having a differences of 15 years, but the age of mine and his changes constant, what we call that, like regularly, timely. I mean, our ages increase. It doesn't stay constant, and we call them variables. So this is variable, and this is also a variable. This variable, right, this guy, Derek Brown's variable and Abdul's variable, they have differences of 15. We can write this down as an algebraic expression. Let's call my age A. So A will be my age or my expression. How to get Mr. Brown or Derek Brown's age will be my age plus 15, which is our difference, will give us Derek Brown's age. Okay, so A is Abdul's age. Abdul's age plus 15 years of the constant or the changes, the difference between Abdul's and Derek Brown age will give me Derek Brown age. That's how we write an expression in algebraic terms. Let's do another example. Okay, example will be when I was 2 year old. When I was 2 year old, my brother was double my age. How old he will be when I turn 32-year-old. 32 years. Okay, so this example is asking us, like, when I was only 2 year old, my brother was double of my age. And so how old my brother will be when I turn 32 year. So again, so let's put a chart here. Abdul, and let's say brother. So when I was 2, he was double of my age, so that will be 4. Okay, so the difference is is 2 year. He's 2 year older than me. Let's put when I was 10 year old, the difference is 2, so he would be automatically 12. And when I was 20 year old, he would be 20 plus 2, 22 year old. So finally, to get to that question will be when I'm 32 year old. When I will be 32, he will have a 34 year of his life, 34 years old. So how we get this? Let's formulate that thing. So let's say my X is Abdul's age, and X plus 2, which is Abdul's brother's age. So X plus 2 will be brother's age. No matter how old I get, we grow up at the same time. Like, the difference is only constant thing. The age difference is the constant, uh, but our age changes year to year, and these are variables. We call them variables because it changes. To when I was 2, he was 4. When I was 10, he was 12. The difference is the same, but the the lifespan changes. Went from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. And so does his. It keep changing, so we call this our ages as a variable. The difference between our age is a constant, and we call that a constant. So hopefully this was clear, and now let's summarize this thing. What is a variable and what is a constant? Uh, Hopefully it was clear enough in example, but we will just simplify that. A variable is a letter that represents, so a letter will be X, Y, Z, G, A, anything that you please to use, but usually we use A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. We also use the capital ones, but it depends on the situation. Is a letter that represents a number or quantity whose value may change. So let's write this down. A letter that represent a number or a quantity whose value might change. And what is a constant? Constant is a number whose value always stays the same, right? A number whose value always stays the same. So this is a constant. In our first example was A plus 15 was Derek Brown's age. D Brown age. So A was Abdul. 15 is the difference. Let's write this more clearly. So A is Abdul plus 15 is the difference of between ages of mine and his. So what is constant here? 15. The number 15 was constant because it's always stays the same. What difference was my age and Derek Brown's age. In 2020, he was 14 years younger and I was 14 years younger. So let's say in 2020, so if I'm 30 right now, I'm sorry, I said like 2010. 2010, I was 14 years younger and he was 14 years younger. Derek Brown, Abdul. So in 2010, I was only, if I'm 30 right now, I was 16 and he was 31. So what changes was there our ages were different. The difference was the same. We still had the 15 years of gap between me and him. After 14 years, the child become 30 and he become 45. So that becomes a variable. The variable is the number. The variable is a letter that represents a number or a quantity whose value may change. Okay, which we see its changes right here. Okay, and let's move on. The numbers, for example, addition. I'll draw a table here for you. So A plus B, we can say it different way. So like A plus B, or we can say the sum of A and B. So these are the terms we can use it. I will just put these all in a table so it'll be easier for us to know. Okay, so here the table of these operations is, so we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So the symbol for, or the notation for addition is A plus sign B, and how we said A plus B, and the result will be, or the outcome of that this is what we said, like the sum of A and B. That's how we summarize that. Subtraction will be A minus B, the notation, and we say like A minus B, that's how we say it. And what that mean? That's it mean that's the difference between A and B. That's a logical terminology for that. Moving to multiplication, we have that's A multiply B, or parentheses A, time that two parentheses side by side means if there is no comma or if there is no other sign in there, that means multiplication. Same thing with the letter A, with start and close multiply. With letter B, that means a single parentheses with the letter also mean multiplication, and same as here. So how we say it says like A times B, and the result of that is the product of A and B. Division, we can use our division this way: A divided by B, A over B. Some people write it like that, some people write it like this. And Asian book, like overseas, particularly Afghanistan, they use division this way: A divided by B. And the US, we do that: A divided by B. So it's a different way to do it, but we will focus on this. We might try to learn this one too. And how we said A divided by B, and the result will be the quotient of A and B. Something to remember here is that in algebra we do not use x is not, we do not use that x as a product or for multiplication, because it creates more confusion between letter x, because we are dealing with letters in algebra. So we will instead use dot or parentheses. So these two things we'll be using instead of using x. So we will, x is not, yeah, I put it, x is not a symbol for multiplication. For multiplication. Okay, multiplication. These are symbols of, or sign of multiplication. Just say multiply. So these are them. So one thing, we will not use x in algebra because it creates confusion between the letter x and the algebra, the arithmetic multiplication. So we will focus on using a dot, like for example a time b, we will write it like that, or we probably can do it that a time b, or we also can do it that, or we also can do write it into parentheses. So instead of using x, or using cross as a using the cross symbol for the multiplication, we will use dot and parentheses to show the multiply or the function of multiplication. Okay, moving on. What that means to say sum of 5 and 3. The sum of 5 and 3. That means simply 5 plus 3. So sum of 5 and 3, what the result is? The result will be 8. Correct? Or let's say the sum of 9 and 5. The sum of 9 and 5 is simply mean 9 plus 5. Okay, same way, what mean the difference between 3 and 2? The difference between 3 and 2, or we cannot even say the difference of 3 and 2 is simply 3 minus 2, because this is the difference sign, or this minus sign or subtraction sign. You can say that means between the difference between 3 and 2, the result will be 1. We know that's a basic operation of the math. It's okay. Let's write the multiplication and division how we say it. So that how the product, if somebody asks you what is the mean of the product of 9 and 8, so what that means is 9 is multiply 8 times. 9 is multiply with 8. So we cannot do that in algebra. This will be wrong. So what we will do here will be 9 times 8. So the result will be 72. So that's how we say it's 9 times 8. 9 times 8 will be 72. So now the last one will be the quotient of a number. Just pick, let's say 30 and 3. So what that means, 30 divided by 3. So that will be 30 divided by 3, which the answer or the result will be 10. We can also do it this way. As I said, that is our Asian way to write it. So 30 go into 3 how many times? We can say 10 times, but 3 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. So we will bring that 0 right here. So this will be our result. So that's how we write it. Or we can do it American, or the normal way to do it. Be 30 divided by 3. So 30 goes into 3 10 times. We can say 3 goes into 3 one time. And 0 will bring it right here. So that will be our result here too. Or always we can also do as fraction wise as a quotient. So 30 divided by 3. I don't think we simplify fractions in earlier lesson, but we can do it one time. So we will divide both the top and bottom the numerator and denominator by 3, and we will get 30 divided by 3 will get 10. 3 divided by 3 will get 1, so the result will be 10. So either way you get your answer as a 3. So hopefully this wasn't that bad. This was just a kind of heads up and a little bit preview of what we will be studying. In next lecture we will be moving on to start with inequality, and from there we will kick the gears on and we will just keep moving up until that time. Take care, guys.